What if everything you've learned about love is incomplete? We often believe that love means holding on, insisting, protecting, and fighting not to lose. But what if the real blockage isn't the other person but the way we cling to the idea of love? What if attachment, disguised as care, is actually preventing the natural flow of connection? In this video, you'll discover how WEI, the Taoist principle of non-forcing, radically transforms the way we relate to each other, revealing why, when you stop trying to control love, it finally begins to flow. Much of human suffering stems from the same root. We try to hold on to what is meant to move. This applies to people, phases, relationships, children who grow up, friends who change, paths that diverge. We love, and so we want to preserve. But the Tao observes something subtle. True love does not hold on. It allows. Think about holding a bird. If you squeeze it, you hurt it. If you open your hand, it can fly away or stay. The Tao says that only when something is free is the choice to remain real. WEI is this state of love without internal violence. You care, support, offer presence, but you don't demand that life be frozen to comfort you. And that changes everything. The Tao teaches that the problem is not loving. It is trying to make love behave according to our fear. WEI brings us back to trust. You start acting based on who you are, not on what you want to avoid losing. This creates a different presence, a lighter energy. People feel this. They don't feel pulled, manipulated, pressured. They feel welcome. Love without WEI becomes a contract. Love with WEI becomes an encounter. There is a silent strength in not needing. When you love without dependence, you offer something rare, space for the other to exist as they are. And paradoxically, this deepens the bonds. Those who feel free come closer. Those who feel pressured move away. The Tao does not ask you to love less. It asks you to stop confusing love with control. To love through WEI is to allow things to change without losing your center. It is to remain present even when the form of the relationship changes. This applies to friendships that cool off, families that reconfigure themselves, people who come and go. You don't need to close your heart to survive. You just need to stop trying to decide the fate of everything. Taoist awakening is this silent recognition. Life knows where it is going. And so does love. When you stop interfering out of fear, you discover something unexpected. Your capacity to love does not diminish. It purifies itself without tension, without despair, without attachment. And in that space, what is true remains. Awakening begins when you realize that the other does not exist to sustain your inner balance. WEI restores balance within. You begin to love from a stable center. And when your center is firm, you don't need to pull anyone else in to feel whole. This creates a silent but powerful presence. A presence that does not invade, beg, or diminish itself. A presence that simply is. The Tao says that the wise man does not put himself in the foreground and therefore ends up being seen. He does not try to be important and therefore becomes essential. The same is true for love. When you stop trying to be indispensable, you become genuinely valuable. This is the Taoist paradox of love. The less you try to secure it, the more real it becomes. WEI teaches us to move with life, not against it. Instead of resisting changes in relationships, you learn to dance with them. Instead of fighting to preserve an old form of connection, you allow it to evolve or transform. And that takes courage. Because letting go is not easy. Letting go requires trust. But it is precisely in this trust that love ceases to be anxiety and becomes presence. In Tao, the greatest strength is gentleness. And in love, the greatest depth comes from space. When you understand this, you do not love less, you love more truly. If this teaching has found you, it is no coincidence. In Tao, nothing is forced. The right things simply fall into place when we are ready to hear them. By signing up, you are not following a channel. You are choosing to walk with more clarity, less attachment, and more presence. If this makes sense to you now, stay. The path continues.